Welcome to the AI Research Roundup. I'm Alex. Alright, today we're looking at a paper trending on X, published on February 16th, 2026, just about 6 days ago. It tackles a massive blind spot in biopharma, where over 85% of patent filings now originate outside the US, showing that a specialized agent can achieve nearly an 80% F1 score in finding these assets, compared to just 56% for Claude Opus. The paper is titled, Hunt Globally, Wide Search AI Agents for Drug Asset Scouting in Investing, Business Development, and Competitive Intelligence. And as we'll see later, the gap in performance between this method and standard commercial tools is really significant. Well, Figure 1 plots the quality versus time trade-off for asset scouting. The vertical axis tracks the F1 score, which combines precision and recall, while the horizontal axis shows wall clock time on a log scale. The red line represents the Bioptic agent, which climbs steadily as it spends more time searching, eventually hitting a completeness saturation point near 80% F1 score after about 1.4 hours. In contrast, commercial tools like Claude Opus, shown in teal, and Perplexity Deep Research, in green, sit much lower. They are faster but cap out between 45 and 56%, implying they miss nearly half the assets that the dedicated agent finds. So, to rigorously test these agents, Figure 2 illustrates the pipeline for building the completeness benchmark. The process is unique because it works backward from the answer. In the top half, the assets mining phase starts with a regional news miner that specifically targets non-English sources to find obscure drug candidates. These candidates pass through a Google search agent, which filters out anything already famous in English media, leaving only the hard-to-find under-the-radar assets. Then, in the bottom half, the query generation phase takes real questions from biopharma investors to create realistic search templates, ensuring the final test queries match how experts actually speak. Alright, following that pipeline, Figure 3 breaks down the actual composition of this benchmark test split. On the left, the language distribution confirms the heavy focus on non-English sources, which is the core challenge. You can see that Chinese, Japanese, and Korean account for the majority of assets, totaling over 60%, while English represents less than 10%. Then on the right, the therapeutic area breakdown shows that oncology is the dominant category at 30%, followed by infectious diseases and neurology, ensuring the agent is tested across a realistic spread of medical fields. Okay, distinct from the language or topic, Figure 4 categorizes the actual difficulty of the questions being asked. On the left, the complexity breakdown reveals that nearly half of the benchmark consists of complex, multi-hop queries, shown in purple. These aren't simple lookups, but require connecting dots across different documents. Then on the right, the constraint categories show what specific filters matter most to investors. You see that over 60% of queries specify an indication, and nearly 60% demand a specific development stage, meaning an agent must understand clinical progress to get the right answer. Well, supporting that search pipeline, Table 1 details the specific regional sources the system mines to find these hidden assets. It covers 10 distinct regions, including major hubs like China, Japan, and Korea, alongside their local languages. The rightmost column lists the high-signal outlets, such as Yaoji in China or Nikkei Biotech in Japan, which are chosen because they publish primary announcements long before they reach global English news. This manual curation is what allows the benchmark to ground itself in reality, rather than just translated press releases. So while the previous table established the search grounds, Table 2 reports the final scorecard for discovery performance. The Bioptic agent takes the top spot by a wide margin, achieving an F1 score of nearly 0.80. This reflects a powerful combination of 73% recall and 88% precision. In comparison, the closest commercial runner-up, Claude Opus 4.6, trails significantly with an F1 of 0.56. This gap proves that general-purpose, deep research tools struggle to balance breadth and accuracy compared to the specialized agent. Alright, to understand how the system achieves that high recall, Figure 7 visualizes the coach agent's decision tree for a single query about hepatitis B therapeutics. The model doesn't just search once, it recursively breaks the goal into narrower, mutually exclusive directives to ensure total coverage. For instance, the top branch isolates oligonucleotide programs, further splitting them by specific delivery mechanisms and geographies like Japan or South Korea. Meanwhile, a separate branch explicitly hunts for stealth assets by targeting obscure sources like institutional review board records or procurement filings, ensuring that even early-stage candidates aren't overlooked. Wrapping up, the key takeaway is that generic AI research tools miss nearly half of the critical, non-English drug assets that specialized agents catch. This gap suggests that high-stakes competitive intelligence requires dedicated architectures, specifically tree search, rather than just prompting a standard chatbot. Investing in specialized compute clearly pays off for discovery. That's it for this episode of the AI Research Roundup. I'm Alex. Thanks for listening.